robot family. I'm sitting here today with Kiba. I don't know if that's his actual name, but gâteau means cake in French, and this dude is cakey and beefy indeed. Not only in looks, having been an international model for a while, I don't know how deep that career went, but I do know how deep he is a DeFi fucking DJ, and that's why he is. And he was the proposer of the creation of the Sushi Pool for Gear versus ETH, or Gear with ETH. I don't think versus is the right thing to say. And it's a wild experiment. We have no idea what's going to happen. And he provided a generous amount of liquidity there. And we wanted to quickly record just a Q&A, maybe generated between me and him, on what to think and why should you play or not, what should you be aware when you play in that pool. I'm going to start us off with the fact that it was delightful to be able to buy 70% robot and 30% ETH, like just straight up, which are basically my two favorite coins in the universe. And I traded some yield tokens from different protocols, and I just turned them into 70% robot, 70% ETH in one transaction. And that felt convenient, and everybody likes convenience. So
yeah. And it's earning yield. So
and it's getting the beautiful 4.2% fees of the original MetaFactory balancer pool. So Kiba, what made you want to propose and seed so generously the liquidity in the sushi pool?
I don't know why I originally thought of it. Definitely part of it was MetaDreamer Hamad, who's one of the co-founders of MetaFactory, posted something about like liquidity pool tokens being the kind of like the base token for protocols, so that they can like basically incentivize liquidity through giving liquidity providers governance power. And I think that was like the start of it. And yeah, so then just like we have this gear pool, which is 70% robot, 30% ETH. And so I figured why not use it with that. And then we started talking about this whole curation game and using gear as the token for the curation game. So I don't know, it kind of made sense to make that token also more available. We already have, now today we have like $4 million of robot liquidity, but there's $0 of gear liquidity. So yeah, I don't know, it just seemed like there was enough reasons to do it, even though there's no real reason to do it. And we should just, yeah, try it out.
Yeah, one of the unspoken goals is that we're trying to get the daily volume of robot to reach a certain threshold that would allow us to open a certain other type of pool.
You're actually like an hour late on the DeFi news. So Sushi just changed their tokenomics. So
whoa,
that's no longer a rule. Yeah.
Jesus. So can we
yeah,
just
we actually don't have to worry about that anymore.
Huh. All right.
Yeah. But getting a lot of volume would still be nice, because that gives us swap fees on the balancer pool, which increases our APY. So yeah, more volume should still be a goal.
Cool. I'm often 1 hour late on things. So have to get some tips on how to get alerts on all of that from you. And what else? You've been a MetaFactory bull from the beginning. I definitely joined much more as a technician and helping set up the ops flow and things like this. That's how I became a core member of MetaFactory. And in that process, I learned a lot of about DeFi from you. Do you want to share a little bit of that background? Like, how do you went from like maybe just a human side of the story, people that want, like, as long as the news of the pools out there and what advantages you can have, we kind of covered it. At the end, I also want to cover what are the dangers and what people should be aware when they decide to throw down on that pool. I haven't aped in yet, so I would definitely want to go over that. But we can sandwich that with the human journey of Kiba, the cake man.
The cake man, okay. Yeah, I like it. My journey, kind of like a weird random journey. I grew up in Brooklyn in New York City, and yeah, I'll skip like the majority of the first like 18 years, but yeah, I randomly became a fashion model at like one of the biggest modeling agencies in the world called IMG. And that was kind of cool. Like did New York Fashion Week for like Polo Ralph Lauren, and did like Calvin Klein campaigns and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, just really didn't like the industry, like terrible vibes, not that fun, but you get paid a lot of money. So yeah, I was kind of looking for an out. And then this was like middle of 2017 or like end of 2017. So I just like got a fat paycheck from a job, and I was like, what's this crypto thing? Dumped it all into crypto. And then like maybe 6 months later, I was working at Consensus as a brand strategist actually. And then I moved over to like a software developer role. And yeah, so I was like pretty hard into crypto, definitely like on the more like idealistic side of like crypto anarchy and like decentralization more than the money.
How big is the Venn diagram of models that code? Does that happen often?
Models that code, I don't think so.
It's just a little joke.
Not a lot.
Just a little joke. But yeah, I was always super impressed with your posting on when you showed up at the MetaFactory Discord. It was not only the level of knowledge, but the sheer willingness to think things through step by step in writing, etc. So if anybody has any stupid prejudice that somebody like that looks good cannot be brilliant, etc., like check yourself and go read a book and work out at the same time, because Kiba was always fucking impressive from the first post and definitely helped build the community. Like, and we're very lucky at the moment. Hopefully it holds. MetaFactory is definitely a successful experiment in terms of company, in terms of creativity, and in terms of tokenomics. And this triangulation is juicy. And yeah, if you don't have any robot in your watching, maybe consider the possibility. At least 10, right? I offer my friends sometimes. 10, yeah, I offer my friends sometimes, like, I'll give you 2 if you buy the other 8.
Yeah.
You know, because
I mean, it's kind of like getting exposure to the entire metaverse and like every DeFi and NFT project, because we work with basically everyone. So it's just cool to like hang out and get knowledge. Yeah, like I've learned so much from you guys, like you and Drew and also Penguin also just like knows a ton about the NFT space.
Exactly. Yeah. And just having access to the inner channels with the 10 robot is worth the deal. But if you're diamond hands and you want to get to 1,000, there's a pretty cool channel waiting for you called the Citadel, where Kiba spends a considerable amount of his time. All right, so I mean, I'm endlessly curious. We could have a giant interview about the story and how those steps happen and what you did in Consensus, etc. Maybe I'll ask you in private, but let's look into the dangers of providing gear liquidity at the moment, in your opinion, like your risk assessment.
Yeah, I would say the biggest risk would be like impermanent loss on your robot. So like quick recap on like what gear is again, like maybe a little bit more in depth. So gear is a balancer liquidity pool that's governed by the MetaFactory DAO and controlled by our multisig. And we've set it up so that liquidity pool is basically like our treasury. So anytime we have profits or anything, like we put it into this balancer pool. So we're very like kind of protective of that pool and the assets within them. And so we've designed it so that there's very low impermanent loss on your robot. And we do that by having 70% of the pool be robot, 30% be Ethereum. And then we also have very high swap fees, the 4.2% swap fee.
Exactly. And also the smart pool keeps maintaining the 70-30.
Yeah. So it's like all auto balancing and everything that you get from balancer. So if you're and then when you put your liquidity into that pool, you get back another token, just like you would like a Uniswap liquidity pool or a SushiSwap liquidity pool. And we just called that liquidity pool token gear. And when you are in the gear pool, you're like, as you said, like very protected because that's also a treasury for a DAO. But when you put that gear and you take that liquidity pool token and put it into another liquidity pool on SushiSwap, which we have with ETH, now you don't have the protection anymore because now you're on SushiSwap exchange. You're no longer in the balancer exchange. And so there's very high impermanent loss. You don't get a lot of trading fees. And those are probably the 2 main things versus like just holding your gear. The cool thing is that you're earning double swap fees. You're earning this trading fees on balancer through the gear that you hold and also on SushiSwap. And you're also double liquidity mining. You're getting the balancer liquidity mining rewards, and then also hopefully we're going to be in the Mint program. So you also get the sushi. So that also kind of balances out. Maybe not enough. I don't know. We've only had the liquidity pool up there for a day. I think I just checked before this, and I have like negative 0.2% impermanent loss over the last 24 hours.
How do you do that calculation? Does the sushi interface do it for you?
Yeah, the analytics interface. I don't know how accurate it is.
The what interface?
The Sushi Analytics.
Okay,
I posted it in the robot token channel. Cool.
I'm gonna throw down some gear in there. I have a weird broken ass number of gear. I'll just round it up and.
So it's like the main thing. As like a liquidity provider, like what you would be doing is adding gear ETH liquidity, and then you could say there's risks for like the MetaFactory DAO. I would say there's also some benefits for the MetaFactory DAO. Like one thing I thought of yesterday after I added liquidity and after I proposed all this was that it kind of makes like the price of robot resilient. So by having this gear ETH pool, it actually, if you want to dump your robot tokens, like we're always giving airdrops to people and blah, blah, blah. If they want to dump their robot tokens, it's actually probably easier for them to add liquidity to the gear pool and then sell the gear, which therefore makes it harder to push down the price of robots. So by selling, they're actually supporting the current price, which I thought was like an interesting dynamic. If that happens to be the case, some people might just like straight sell the robot and not do the gear thing, because that is an extra step, which probably only like bigger holders would do. And beyond, there's some other things like the arbitrage. It might actually add more price volatility between the two assets because of the high swap fees, and like the ability to arbitrage that. You have to like add liquidity or take off the liquidity to then sell tokens or whatever. But yeah, I think the market will kind of just like figure those things out.
Thanks for having a chat. I will throw some gear in there, and looking forward for what the experiment brings. And let's check in back like in a month or so and do like a little report, see what's happened. Yeah. Anything else you want to shout out about or shill or invite people to do?
Just MetaFactory as a whole is pretty awesome. Yeah, you should definitely get involved.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about it.
I will say, if you want to work with MetaFactory, I'm kicking off an initiative called the Creator Get Up program. It's an open channel in the MetaFactory Discord, and if you're listening and you're like, oh, I want to help place the designs of clothes, or I want to do brand strategy, I want to help community manage, I want to do social media, I want to just get in there and learn some shit for free, come join the Creator Get Up program, and hopefully we're going to get all the way to like community as a moat, tokenomics, and then we invite Professor Cake back to tell us about it.
Okay, cool.
Nice to chat with you, man. Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, you too, Felipe. Thanks.
Cool. So I'm just gonna stop the recording.